For every player fans love in women's golf, there's one they absolutely hate. Starting with Suzann Pettersen, whose name still makes some golf fans cringe. During the 2015 Solheim Cup at St. Leon Roth, Germany, Pettersen refused to concede an 18-inch putt to rookie Allison Lee on the 17th green, even though Lee had already picked up her ball believing the putt was given. Both Lee and her partner, Charlie Hull, were reduced to tears as heated discussions happened around the green. Julie Inkster called it BS, while Dame Laura Davies said she was disgusted by Pettersen's actions. The two-time major champion became golf's villain overnight. Even European captain Karen Koch and vice captain Annika Sorenstam tried to convince Pettersen to change her mind and concede the putt. But Pettersen just said no, she wouldn't do it. And, this is a sport known for its etiquette and sportsmanship and all that kind of stuff. So Pettersen's gamesmanship obviously left both teammates and opponents questioning her character. She later apologized on Instagram, saying she was gutted and truly sad, but only for how she handled it, not for what she actually did. The damage was done. To many, Pettersen showed that winning at any cost mattered more than respecting the game itself. But while Pettersen's gamesmanship left a bitter taste, the exact opposite happened with Brooke Henderson, who's won over the golf world without a single controversy. With 14 LPGA Tour wins, Henderson holds the record for most victories by any Canadian golfer on major professional tours. And she's not just racking up wins, she's doing it with style. At the 2022 Evian Championship, Henderson became the first player in LPGA history to open a major with back-to-back rounds of 64 or better. But Sunday's final round? Absolute chaos. Henderson four-putted for a double bogey on the 6th hole, lost her lead for the first time all week, and then hooked her tee shot into the trees on 18 with the tournament tied. After chipping out to the fairway, Henderson hit her approach to 8 feet and buried the birdie putt to win by 1 stroke. Her sister Brittany, who's been on her bag throughout her career, was there to celebrate. And you know that golf fans love a family connection. Henderson won the 2019 Founders Award, voted by fellow LPGA players for best exemplifying the spirit and values of the tour. That's respect you can't fake. While Henderson's loved for staying humble, the same can't be said for Natalie Gulbis, who turned heads for all the wrong reasons. Gulbis released a 2005 calendar featuring herself in swimwear, which the USGA banned from being sold at the US Women's Open, deeming it inappropriate. She also appeared in the 2012 Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue wearing only body paint. In November 2005, her reality show, The Natalie Gulbis Show, debuted on the Golf Channel and ran for 2 seasons. And yes, as terrible as it sounds, people hated her for that. Some tried to excuse it, saying the problem was that she was more focused on photo shoots than leaderboards. They claimed she was distracted. And of course, that put both the game and the genre in a tricky position. But, to be honest, there was some jealousy on it. Here was someone making headlines without racking up trophies. Gulbis won 1 LPGA title at the 2007 Evian Masters and competed on 3 victorious U.S. Solheim Cup teams in 2005, 2007, and 2009. She was a legitimate competitor, but traditionalists couldn't handle that she monetized her looks. Gulbis herself said, "I never bought into the theory that a female athlete couldn't be attractive, possess business savvy, and be a fierce competitor. My verdict is that she was kind of ahead of her time, and the golf world punished her for it." Because if Gulbis drew criticism for style over substance, Paula Creamer proved you could have both, and fans adored her for it. At the 2010 US Women's Open, Creamer underwent reconstructive thumb surgery in March after feeling it pop during a tournament in Thailand, yet returned just months later to win her first major at Oakmont. She played the tournament at only 60% fitness, limited to 40 practice shots per round to protect her surgically repaired thumb, which remained heavily taped throughout the week. Creamer shot a final round 69 to win by 4 strokes, finishing at 3 under par, the only player under par for the tournament. Known as the Pink Panther for her love of wearing pink, Creamer represented the United States in 7 Solheim Cups from 2005 to 2017. Every fist pump, every smile, every emotion. Paula made you feel the moment with her. She once said, "I want to be somebody you can look up to and say, I want to be like her." And that's exactly what she became, a warrior who looked glamorous but fought like hell when it mattered, even when you've got the weight of the world in your swings. Speaking of pressure, Michelle Wie became hated for how she handled the pressure of being golf's chosen one. In 2006, after finishing tied for 26th at the British Open, her caddy Greg Johnston, who had won 4 majors with Julie Inkster, was fired over the phone at the airport gate by Wee's agent Ross Berlin, and Johnston said he was surprised and disappointed that no one named Wee gave him the news. Well, it wasn't much of a surprise because Wee had employed at least 9 caddies since her father stopped caddying for her in 2004. Then, in 2007, she faced complaints from her pro-am partners about her attitude and behavior. Stories spread of club throwing and refusing photos with young fans, and quickly the media labeled her spoiled, cold, and difficult. But can you blame her? She'd been hyped as golf's next Tiger Woods since age 10. Then people tore her down when she showed emotion. Though, to be honest, defending her can be a little hard sometimes. When she withdrew from the 2007 Ginn tribute, citing a wrist injury but was seen hitting balls 2 days later, tournament host Annika Sorenstam said we showed a lack of class and respect. So, yeah, that reputation as difficult followed her for years. Turns out being a teenage lab rat for everyone's expectations does that to you. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum sits Morgan Pressel, who turned tragedy into purpose, and fans loved her for it. Morgan Pressel burst onto the scene at age 18 when she won the 2007 Kraft Nabisco Championship, becoming the youngest ever winner of a modern LPGA major at 18 years, 313 days. Impressive? Sure. But that's not why fans love her. Pressel's mother, Kathy Krickstein Pressel, was diagnosed with breast cancer when Morgan was 11 and died 4 years later when Morgan was 15. The Morgan Pressel Foundation has raised nearly $14 million over 18 years to support breast cancer diagnosis, treatment, and research. The foundation created the Catherine Krickstein Pressel Mammovan, a mobile mammography unit that has performed over 18,000 mammograms and detected 60 women with breast cancer early. On the course, she was fiery and wore her emotions on her sleeve. Pressel competed in 6 Solheim Cups and remained undefeated in singles play through 2011 with a 3-0-0 record. Off the course, she became one of golf's biggest hearts. That's a legacy that goes way beyond trophies. Of course, charity work and major victories sound great, until you realize some players get torn apart just for existing. Like Paige Spiranak. She received a sponsor invitation to the 2015 Omega Dubai Ladies Classic after going viral on social media, and fellow players accused her of, and I quote, doing sexual favors to get an invite. In fact, she earned all Mountain West honors at San Diego State and won on the Cactus Tour in 2016, defeating then world #1, amateur Hannah O'Sullivan in a playoff. But it didn't matter. The golf world decided she was too sexy, too different, too much. When the LPGA introduced a stricter dress code in 2017, banning plunging necklines and short skirts, Spiranak became one of its fiercest opponents, writing an op-ed in Fortune calling it slut-shaming. Spiranak later revealed she struggled, crumbled under the pressure, and developed the yips off the tee, crying before and after rounds. So she quit professional golf and became exactly what they hated, a massively successful influencer with millions more followers than most tour pros. In 2022, she was named Sexiest Woman Alive by Maxim, becoming the first athlete to top the list. While Spiranak was pushed out for being different, Danielle Kang earned respect by being the sweet girl that they loved. At the 2017 KPMG Women's PGA Championship, Kang won her first LPGA title in her 144th start, finishing at 13 under par and defeating defending champion Brooke Henderson by 1 stroke at Olympia Fields. Her father, KS, had died in 2013 from brain cancer just 6 months after diagnosis, and he'd been her caddy for her back-to-back U.S. women's amateur wins in 2010 and 2011. On the back nine at Olympia Fields, Kang made 4 straight birdies from holes 11 to 14, including a 25-footer on 12 and a 30-footer on 13, then saved par with a 20-foot putt on 16 before birdieing 18 to win. She felt him there. Kang said, "What are the odds that my first win is a major? I'm pretty sure he had something to do with it." In June 2022, Kang revealed she'd been playing with a tumor on her spine, uncertain whether it was malignant or benign. She took time off for surgery, then returned in August at the CP Women's Open, finishing tied for 17th. She's a tough girl, it's obvious why fans root for her. But for every player fans rally behind, there's someone who ends up on the other side of that love. Not because they broke the rules, but because they followed them maybe too perfectly. Christina Kim became golf's most controversial whistleblower, and fans still haven't forgiven her for it. At the 2019 LPGA Q Series, Kim witnessed playing partner Kendall die signal to another player's caddy, asking what club was hit on a par 3, which violated the rule against asking for advice. Kim spoke with a rules official immediately, but waited until after the round to inform her playing partners, resulting in 2-stroke penalties that ultimately cost both players their LPGA Tour cards. The internet lost it. She was called a narc, accused of betrayal, and dragged across social media. She tried to defend herself, posting over 100 tweets explaining she needed official confirmation first and that, without rules and laws, we fall into chaos. Now, she wasn't wrong. She actually played it by the book. But the real reason people hated her is because she'd always been too much, too loud, too emotional, too unfiltered. At the 2009 Solheim Cup, she was criticized for excessive celebration, high-fiving fans and mugging for crowds. As I see it, she is just a reminder that passion can burn you both ways. Still, some players found a way to channel that fire into dominance without ever losing the crowd. Nelly Korda did just that. She proved you could be intense, competitive, even unstoppable, and still be universally adored. In 2024, Korda won 5 consecutive LPGA tournaments, including the Chevron Championship, tying the record set by Nancy Lopez in 1978 and Annika Sorenstam in 2004 to 2005. She became the first golfer, male or female, to win 5 straight starts since Tiger Woods in 2007 to 8. By season's end, she'd collected 7 titles, including a second major championship, and she did it all after nearly dying. In March 2022, Korda was diagnosed with a blood clot in her subclavian vein after experiencing swelling following a workout, requiring a 3-hour surgery. She also battled COVID-19 that same year. 6 months gone, career in question. But when she came back, she owned the tour. On top of that, people always love a nice family bond. Her sister Jessica is a 6-time LPGA winner. Her brother Sebastian's a top tennis pro, and both parents were Grand Slam athletes. Nelly even said her proudest golf memory wasn't one of her own wins. It was watching Jessica win the 2012 Women's Australian Open in a 6-way playoff. That's the stuff you can't fake. That's why when Nelly cannonballs into Poppy's pond after a major win, fans would love to jump right in with her. That thing would never happen with Lorena Ochoa, because while some players fight for every win, Lorena did something that golf's most loyal fans couldn't understand. She walked away from hers. In April 2010, at just 28 years old and ranked #1 in the world, Ochoa announced her retirement. She'd held that top spot for 157 consecutive weeks, won 27 LPGA titles in less than 8 full seasons, and captured 2 majors, with 17 of those wins coming in just a 2-year stretch. Then, suddenly, she stopped. Her retirement came only 2 years after Annika Sorenstam had stepped away, leaving the LPGA without another superstar when it needed one most. The tour was already struggling financially, events disappearing, sponsors vanishing, and Ochoa knew it, but she walked anyway. What was the reason behind that? Well, she'd just married Aeromexico CEO Andrés Conesa 5 months earlier and wanted to start a family. But fans were bitter because she'd once promised she'd play for 10 years. She did exactly what she said she would, but in doing so, she kept her promise to herself, not to golf. She chose real life over legacy, and somehow people couldn't forgive her for that. Because in a sport obsessed with longevity, quitting, even for happiness, felt like betrayal. But for one player, quitting wasn't even an option. Stacy Lewis refused to walk away, even when her own body tried to make that decision for her. Diagnosed with scoliosis at age 11, Lewis spent 7.5 years trapped in a hard plastic back brace for 18 hours a day, removing it only to play golf. The Texas heat made it unbearable. Constant bruising, itching, and the kind of pain that would make most kids give up. And then came the news no young athlete wants to hear. The brace hadn't worked. She needed spinal surgery, a metal rod, and 5 screws inserted into her back. Doctors told her that her golf career was probably over. But Lewis didn't get the memo. 3 months later, she was back in a brace. 6 months after that, she was swinging again. By 2004, she'd earned a spot on the University of Arkansas golf team. And by 2007, she was an NCAA champion. Her comeback hit legendary status at the 2013 Women's British Open at St. Andrews, where wind delays forced her to play 36 holes in a single day. She birdied the final 2 holes, then waited almost an hour as the field finished. And when the dust settled, she was the only player left standing. She has one of those stories of resilience and strength you never get tired of hearing. But while Lewis turned struggle into triumph, Charlie Hull found herself in hot water for smoking a cigarette. Yes, seriously. At the 2024 US Women's Open, Hull was photographed smoking while signing autographs for young fans. And the clip went instantly viral. The two-time LPGA winner gained 72,000 Instagram followers in just 2 days thanks to the viral videos. But Hull wasn't exactly loving the attention. She explained she only smoked when stressed, and even tried explaining that slow play on the LPGA was a major reason, saying that she found the golf rounds sometimes way too slow. So then you kind of lose your momentum. That's one reason why I used to smoke, because it just used to kill a bit of time. But still, fans were kind of split. Some compared her to John Daly and loved her for being unapologetically human. Others clutched their pearls, like for a man it was just normal to smoke. But for a woman, that was a different story according to them. Anyway, Hull's point was this: golf couldn't handle a fit, talented player simply being herself. Even when she tried to quit, betting 10,000 pounds that she wouldn't smoke for 2 months, people still had opinions. Which is a bit ironic considering that while she was hated for being too real, Lexi Thompson became loved for finally letting people see the real her, even when it broke her. In 2024, at just 29, Thompson retired from professional golf. Years of constant attention, scrutiny, and pressure had taken their toll. Fans remembered her not just for her 11 LPGA wins and 1 major, but for the battles she faced along the way. One moment that sticks out is the 2017 ANA Inspiration, where a tiny rules infraction, a ball replaced slightly off its original spot, cost her a 2-shot lead. Overnight, her advantage turned into a deficit. Most players would have crumbled, but Thompson didn't. She fought through the back 9, made birdies, and forced a playoff. She lost in the end, but she did it on her terms, showing resilience under impossible circumstances. That moment became emblematic of her career: competitive, determined, and yet heartbreakingly human. Off the course, she opened up about her struggles with mental health, taking breaks when the pressure became too much and returning ready to compete. Over the course of her career, she won the trophies, yes, but more than that, she earned people's respect for showing up, giving it her all and proving that it's okay to not be okay. Not everyone got that memo, though. Christy Kerr broke everyone else and never apologized for it. Fellow player Beth Daniel once said Kerr was a nice kid, but had a way of saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. And as she emerged as a star, she never quite learned to hold back. Whether commenting on a player's back treatments, complaining about nail polish on a TV shoot, or walking past a laughing group of peers, Kerr made it clear she wasn't here to make friends. She was here to win. And win she did: 2 majors, 20 LPGA wins, but golf is supposed to be a sport of honor and respect, and Kerr skipped that. Her competitive streak sometimes spilled into controversy. At the 2017 Volunteers of America Texas shootout, a slow playoff drew criticism, and Kerr made a half apology on Twitter, saying that both players took a lot of time. And that was all she was going to say about that. Yeah, maybe calling it a half apology was a bit optimistic. But just to be a little less hard on her, she had reasons to be like that: a tough upbringing, early struggles on the boys' team, family health crises, and 128 events before her first win. Still, that reputation as golf's ice queen stuck, giving the world plenty more reasons to hate her. Since Kerr forgot that golf is bigger than trophies, we need to bring someone that never did. And that someone is Nancy Lopez, the heart of women's golf. In 1978, Lopez played her first full season on the tour and won 9 tournaments, including her first major, the LPGA Championship. She set a record with 5 consecutive wins and became the first player to earn Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year, and the Vare Trophy for lowest scoring average, all in the same season. NBC even cut into a baseball broadcast to cover her 5th consecutive win. That's how big she was. But besides her record-setting victories, her humility and generosity was winning hearts. She loved signing autographs, taking pictures, and shaking hands. She vowed that if she ever became a pro, she would never walk away from fans the way some pros had treated her as a teenager. And she kept that vow. In 2005, she captained the U.S. Solheim Cup team to victory, calling it her proudest achievement because it was about representing her country, not herself. That's the difference between hated and loved in women's golf. It's not about the wins or the money or even the majors. It's about whether you remembered that this sport, this tour, this game, it's bigger than you. Nancy Lopez never forgot. And that's why, decades after retirement, she's still called the heart of women's golf.